Hello, everybody. It is the American Doofus Show. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. Don't be a doofus. It is Sunday. It's the weekly wrap. We look back at the previous week, and we look ahead. Toward the week to come. Um, I'm going to start on Monday and work my way forward. Um, Mike Selinker was on Monday, and Mike is a master game designer. He's worked on Dungeons and Dragons. He's worked on Risk. He's worked on Veritas. He's worked on um, World War II, and then D-Day, Normandy. He did the complete restructuring of that, basically. So the guy studies conflict. He's an expert in conflict, and he laid out various scenarios, four scenarios that he thought might lead us into a civil war, a war where we're actually fighting each other on our own soil. It's still such an absurd idea to me, but yet it's one that that I'm all but convinced if something doesn't happen in a major way very soon, that we're going to find ourselves in. So Monday night, we looked at how we might find ourselves in battle with each other. And it was based on each one of the scenarios was based on an actual historic event. And none of the scenarios are good. Oakley, no, don't chew up the carpet. No, don't chew the rug. No. Apologize, Doofus Dog. Doofus Dog doesn't like when I record and I don't pay attention to her, and sometimes she acts up. But if you didn't see that episode, when you have some time, go back and give it a look. A lot of terrifying information in there, but nonetheless, if you're trying to fight for peace, you need to know about war. And I'm going to keep plugging away, trying to get people to stand down, because it's not a game. And I'll get to that in just a few minutes. Hopefully what Mike and I did Monday night was a game. Hopefully it was all just another war game scenario, just another magnified game of chess, if you will. But what's happening in the fields, what's happening at protests, that's not a game. Also, this past week, we had the vice presidential debate, and as predicted, the fly on Pence's head was the main story. You just can't, you can't script things like that, and everybody's going to run with that. But the troubling thing to me was Pence not answering the question: if Trump loses, will he peacefully pass power to the next president, as has previously been the policy of our great country? And this guy is known for a lot of things, and tradition and protocol aren't exactly at the top of the list of things I would describe him as, or describe his actions or character. No, chances are he's not going to peacefully go into that good night, as the old saying goes. And we've also seen the video of one of the Proud Boys saying that there's going to be a war either way, in his opinion. If Biden wins, they're coming, and they're coming hard, were his words. And if Trump wins, he thinks that the left wing is going to start a war. Now, there may be a war started, may be blamed on the left wing. Left wing may start a war. Hopefully, nobody starts anything, and it's just all a bunch of hot-headed talk on the internet, bunch of keyboard warriors. But again, as we saw last night, it's not a game. It's not a game. Then, well, let's just jump right to what happened last night, what happened yesterday, what I broke on here last night. But before I do, thank you everybody for watching. Seriously, if you're new, please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing. If you're one of the doofus brigade that regularly comes on and watches the program, and you're already a subscriber and you're notified when we come on and all that kind of stuff, I love you, seriously. I have people on here and we talk about a lot of different things. It's a different program. It's not a program where the idea is to make the viewers say everything the viewers want to hear. This show's about not telling you what to think or how to think, but giving you things to think about. And it's totally different. We don't have an agenda except peace, equality, freedom, the things that America are based on or were founded on, at least in concept. It hasn't always been the policy for everyone, and that's what we're drawing attention to. If you haven't seen the show before, I'm a gun owner. I believe in the Second Amendment that everyone should be able to protect themselves. I believe every woman should know how to shoot a gun in this day and age, just for safety, even if you don't carry one. And I believe every woman that feels they are motivated to take up arms for whatever cause may be should be allowed to do so. And that includes the United States Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, anybody, all the way down to my next door neighbor if she feels threatened. So there's where I stand on those things. Now, there is an ongoing case in Kenosha, Wisconsin. A 17-year-old boy shot and killed one person and blew the arm off of another person. And in my opinion, it's horrific that it ever happened. He shouldn't have been there. But again, it's not a game. It's not a game. It is deadly serious anytime you go out in the field, because you never know. You never know where that car is going to come screaming around the corner and plow into people. You never know where somebody in a car is going to pull a gun up. You never know where somebody in the crowd's going to pull a gun up. You never know when there's a sniper waiting somewhere secluded just to start picking people off. You never know. It's not a game. It's not a game. But there are those that say that the young man, the 17-year-old in Wisconsin, was acting in self-defense. He had shot and killed one person, and he had been identified, and people were chasing him down a street, and he eventually either tripped or somebody tripped him, and and he ended up shooting another person. And that other person was threatening him. The other person had a handgun, and I believe somebody was trying to hit him with a skateboard. So my point is, if that is argued in as self-defense, what I'm about to show you is self-defense. And if there are those that try to spin it as, you know, there are two different sets of rules. Well, you're already setting up who the enemy is, and that it's not really about patriotism or the Constitution or justice or anything the country stands for. It's about you just being afraid that somebody else getting something that makes them more equal is somehow going to make you less. And that's a totally irrational fear. But a lot of people in the white community have that fear. Now, do I understand that they love guns and they believe that if you don't have the Second Amendment, you don't have any other amendments? And I can totally relate to that. Yeah, but it's totally different than saying all rules apply to everybody. Now that's equality. Do I think that's the way our country is right now? No, I do not. Do I think it's how it should be? Yes. Do I think we're a long way from getting there? Yes. Do I think we need to start making steps to get there? Yes. I had King Kendrick on last night talking about corruption in Louisville, Kentucky. Now, if it's true, it needs to get out there. If it's not, it'll be proven not true. But if it's true, it needs to get out there. And if nobody else is going to get it out there, we're going to present it and let you make your own decisions. And judging from emails I've been getting, people made their own decisions. I'm gonna get to King and Delta in just a minute. I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna pop the camera around to here. Now, I'll tell you what, hang with me for just a second here. I'm gonna turn that light off as well. Kind of like in the classroom at school, you'll be able to see the audio-visual presentation much better, hopefully. Okay, now this is a video. This is a video I showed earlier. Back up a little bit. All right, let's try this. All right, thank you for your patience. This is a video I showed earlier. It's in a enlarged format, and I do have volume on this particular copy. So let's take a look and a listen.
Show me, motherfucker! Show me that, nigga! Who fucking touch me? Touch me one more time, you gon' get it! Next person to fucking touch me, right? Mace me. Fucking mace me, brother. Walk up to me and fucking mace me, nigga. Mace me, motherfucker. Mace me, motherfucker. I got the right to stand my ground. Fucking mace me. Can you talk? Go ahead and fucking mace me. Go fucking ahead and mace me, nigga. Fucking around and find out. Don't touch me, old man. Don't fucking touch me, old man. Don't fucking touch me, man. Don't fucking touch me. Fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out. Fucking tough guy. You got a nice battalion, so fucking tough. Fuck around.
Okay. I really wish I could get a better visual for you all on this. I'm going to replay it again. You'll hear the one guy and his shirt. You're probably not able to see it, but his shirt says "Black Guns Matter," and the guy doing the majority of the talking is neither the shooter nor the victim of the shooting. There was an argument between the guy that ended up being the victim of the shooting and this man that has the Black Guns Matter shirt on. And within literally seconds of the victim walking away, he's encountered by someone else and shot. And that is what happens at the very end of the video. It's 45 seconds long. Okay. Actually, I'm going to plug in some speakers here so we get better, so you get better volume. And if you've seen this already, I do apologize. Thank you for sticking with me.
Show me, motherfucker! Show me that, nigga! Who fucking touch me? Touch me one more time, you gonna get it. Next person to fucking touch me, right? Mace me. Fucking mace me, bud. Walk up to me and fucking mace me, nigga. Mace me, motherfucker. Mace me, motherfucker. I got to represent my ground. Fucking mace me. Go ahead and fucking mace me. Go fucking ahead and mace me, nigga. Fuck around and find out. Don't touch me, old man. Don't fucking touch me, old man. Don't fucking touch me, man. Don't fucking touch me. Fuck around and find out.
She walks out of the screen.
Fucking top guy. You got a knife battalion, so fucking tough. Fuck around.
You hear the shh of the mace and then pow. We're going to watch it one more time before we move on. And this will give those of you, you can slow it down.
Show me, motherfucker! Show me that, nigga! Who fucking touch me? Touch me one more time, you gonna get it. Next person to fucking touch me, right? Mace me. Fucking mace me, bud. Walk up to me and fucking mace me, nigga. Mace me, motherfucker. Mace me, motherfucker. I got to represent my ground. Fucking mace me. Go ahead and fucking mace me. Go fucking ahead and mace me, nigga. Fuck around and find out. Don't touch me, old man. Don't fucking touch me, old man. Don't fucking touch me, man. Don't fucking touch me. Fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out. Fucking top guy. You got a knife battalion, so fucking tough. Fuck around.
Okay, we'll do it one more time now that I got a little better angle with the light in here.
Show me, motherfucker! Show me that, nigga! Who fucking touch me? Touch me one more time, you gonna get it. Next person to fucking touch me, right? Mace me. Fucking mace me, bud. Walk up to me and fucking mace me, nigga. Mace me, motherfucker. Mace me, motherfucker. I got to represent my ground. Fucking mace me. Go ahead and fucking mace me. Go fucking ahead and mace me, nigga. Fuck around and find out. Don't touch me, old man. Don't fucking touch me, old man. Don't fucking touch me, man. Don't fucking touch me. Fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out. Fucking top guy. You got a knife battalion, so fucking tough. Fuck around.
Okay, so that should give you enough opportunity to be able to go back, slow it down, chop it up, whatever, and hopefully it's good enough. You'll be able to make your own opinions, if so desired, on that part of the incident. Now, I'm going to do the pictures one at a time here. And let me adjust it to best quality. This is what happened. All right. The man you see right here, this gentleman right there, that was the one that was just in the altercation with the guy with the Black Guns Matter shirt. He turns and walks towards where the cameras are. And this gentleman right here works security for Channel 9 out of out of Denver, Colorado. Then we go to this next image, and the man that eventually gets shot is hitting the man that eventually becomes the shooter. You can see his glasses falling off of his head as the one man has just struck his face. The next image is the man indeed deploying the mace, and the eventual shooter has, in that short amount of time, pulled his gun, pushed it, and locked it. He pushed the gun out away from himself after he pulled it up, and he's locked himself in a shooting position. And then this is immediately after the shot was fired. Now, I've got one more series of photos this is from the Denver Post. Let me get rid of their constant advertising. Okay. And again, we see the mace being deployed. We see the man down with the shooter over him, looking back over his shoulder. The shooter is quickly taken into custody. And they're not going to let me show the last picture. So that's what I wanted to start with tonight. A little expanded evidence as to the incident in Denver yesterday. Let me just do it like this instead of turning the other light on. So again, I wanted to just kind of show a little bit more of what has come out. According to it was mace. According to the Denver police, the shooting happened between the art center and the library, and the shooter's name is Matthew Robert Doloff, and the victim's name is Lee Keltner. And according to relatives, neither one of them are part of any group. So it comes back to who are the enemies, all right? Because and no disrespect to the viewer of the show that sent me the story. Thank you so much for sending it to me as quick. I mean, within an hour of it happening, I was aware it had happened before anybody national knew about it. But the info I got was a Black Lives Matter protester had shot a Proud Boy, and that gets back to who are the enemies? Who are enemies? Who are enemies? Not who are our enemies. Who are enemies? Who's fighting who? Who's planning on fighting who? Because it also gets back to something else I'm always talking about: monolithic thinking. It goes back to, well, this was a white guy, an older white guy carrying guns, carrying mace, carrying brass knuckles was one of the reports, and it was automatically assumed he's part of the Proud Boys, even though he's not part of any group. And it was automatically assumed that it was Black Lives Matter that actually did the killing, when it was a private security guard hired to protect the film crew while they're trying to do their job, because it's not a game. You these TV stations send their people out with protection. Most of the live streamers in Louisville at one time or another go out with protection. I wasn't going to go to Louisville on Derby Day unless I was behind the lines of someone. So I wasn't out there on my own, because it's not a game. It's not a game. And you can think what you want about Delta and about King Kendrick, but those two men understand that it's not a game, and they understand that this is just the beginning, and the potential for mass violence is very real and very prevalent each and every day. It's not going to wait for a weekend or an event. If it's time to kick off, it's going to kick off, and it could kick off anywhere. That's the reality of where we are today, where the United States of America is today, where each one of us as people living in this country are today. Distress. That's what the upside down flag means. It means that you feel you're in distress and you need help. And I do. I feel the country's in distress and it needs help. And one thing Kendrick said last night that I would hope nobody has a problem with. I would hope everybody would go, yeah, that's so simple. It's just having some common decency, having some basic morals and principles, instead of devaluing human life so quickly and so easily. Now, back to the Denver case. The shooter has been charged with first-degree murder. And again, I ask, for those that say that the young man and the 17-year-old boy in Kenosha was acting in self-defense, if that's the case, then the shooter in this incident was acting in self-defense. You know, we saw the picture of the guy hitting him in the face, saw the picture of the guy masoning him, going for something else. And by that time, the security guard had pulled his gun, pushed, locked, and fired. And it can all happen that fast. And that's an indication that the security guard had practiced that maneuver. And I've mentioned it on this show before. If you're going to be serious about carrying a gun, do it safely. Do it safely so you don't shoot yourself, and do it so you don't shoot somebody else. Practice, 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 practice without any bullets in it for a long time before you ever load it up. Learn your weapons. You don't have a lot of time either if you plan on. So that kind of takes us up. And again, not everybody's going to agree with everything Delta Django says. Not everybody's going to agree with everything King Kendrick says. If Grandmaster Jay comes on here, not everybody's going to agree with everything Grandmaster Jay says. But the more we let people talk, the more we listen to them say their truth, the more we potentially learn. Maybe we learn, I don't want to follow that guy. Maybe we learn, I really understand what this guy's trying to do, and I want to get behind it. But we don't know if we don't listen. And in my opinion, there's room for everybody. I've said this multiple times. It shouldn't be an either or. It shouldn't be about, well, you can only act this way if you belong to this group. And only one group's going to make all the decisions. That's kind of what got us into the point where we're at right now, where one group thinks that the current president of the United States can do absolutely no wrong. And that's called a cult of personality, not to be confused with the Living Color song. And cults of personalities are potentially very dangerous, and often lead to separatisms and supremacists. And that's documented in history. That's not me giving an opinion. So I've gone on here for probably about 30 minutes, and a bunch of comments. Thank you so much. Love everybody that watches live. If you have, adjust the cord so I can see the comments a little better there. If you have any questions or comments, and if you have anything you really want me to see, you can make a small contribution to the show, and your comment shows up in a great big colored block, and I don't miss it. It's not a requirement, as everybody knows that watches this show. But if I get talking, if somebody asks something and I get talking about it, I miss a lot of the comments and a lot of the questions. I do want to touch on what I've got planned coming up this week. I'm going to try to get somebody on from Louisville. I'm going to try to get one of the live streamers from Louisville on to talk about what their plans are going forward, and how they have maintained the temperament, the energy that they have so far. And I've got a couple of other things in the works, and but I'll talk about those things, and I'm probably going to be on a couple of other podcasts too. I'm going to be on the other side, so to speak. I'm going to be doing a couple of interviews and answering questions instead of asking them. Scarlett Windhill, cult of personality led to Jim Jones. Oh, hold on just a second. My phone is buzzing. Hey, Brian, can I call you back? I'm in the middle of something. Yeah. All right, bye. Okay. Scarlett Windhill, cult of personality led to Jim Jones and drinking the Kool-Aid, mass suicide, etc. I agree with Doofus. Cults are dangerous. Yeah, they really are potentially dangerous, and it's motivated by one person's obsession with power, and that is in and of itself incredibly dangerous too. And it gets to where the people become so enamored, let's use that word instead of brainwashed, that people become so enamored that absolutely nothing, that the person is perfection personified, that absolutely nothing they do is wrong, or if they really, or they cannot acknowledge it as wrong. And that's dangerous, no matter who you are, no matter what you believe. If you become that extreme, that you believe one person, such as the current president of the United States, can do no wrong, and some of the pictures I've seen where they've got him like he's Sylvester Stallone from the 1970s, all jacked up and everything. This guy's a 70-year-old man. He doesn't look like that at all. And if that is your really true image in your head of what this guy is, wow, you're delusional. Now, I'm not saying all Trump supporters are delusional, but I've seen a couple that are, you know what I'm saying. You don't engage. Let's put it that way. At first, I thought Doofus was sincere, ignorant but sincere. Well, thank you. I no longer think he is. He ran for a House seat. He's the typical Democrat, blows smoke up black skirts while undermining them. I did run for a House seat. I ran against the current Vice President of the United States, Mike Pence. And my campaign was based on people before profits. And I'm not running for anything. I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's skirts. This isn't really a pro anything show, except pro equality, pro freedom, pro justice, pro liberty. It's just not an anti anything show either, and that's what makes it different. But I understand. I understand your thinking, MHFSC. The little tiny they give me, it's like like an eye test at the eye doctor. So yeah, if you want to think that, that's fine. That's your right. The only I say, if you want to help support the show, become a member for $2.99 a month. Oh, it's the whole month for $2.99, and you get certain perks. Or there's 3 different levels. One's $2.99, one's $9.99. The $9.99 level, you get a call into the show on selected shows. And then the top level is $49.99, and you get to host the show once a month. So, if you are so inclined to do any of those, that's fine. I would welcome it. If not, it's okay. It doesn't change how I do the show or anything about it. It's if people want to support, I appreciate it, and I could use it. If they don't, I'm still going to do what I do. And the other thing, I've asked for money for trying to arrange a trip to Florida on October 24th, when Delta Django and Angry Viking are supposed to meet up. And Django's inviting a bunch of other groups to show up and talk things out, or find out who the enemy is. And to me, as long as it's not a trap for anybody, and as long as it is a totally neutral situation, and everybody knows they can walk in and walk out, I think it's a hell of an idea. I think it's a much better idea to know who the enemy is before shooting starts than to try to figure it out once shooting starts all across the country. And that's my whole thing about who is the enemy, who are people lining up to fight against, because the election's coming soon. And I've already said I thought it was going to kick off on Halloween night, but the election's coming soon, and it's going to come down to I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and there was a song by a guy called Country Joe, and his band were the Fish. It was Country Joe and the Fish, and it was 1, 2, 3. What are we fighting for? I know I don't give a damn. Next stop is Vietnam, and it's 5, 6, 7. Open up the pearly gates. Woohoo! We're all gonna die. Okay. And then we knew who the enemy was. Was it a justified conflict? No. Looking back on it, wasn't. It was feeding the military industrial complex. Then we go up to 2001, and the enemy was a group of people based out of Afghanistan, and we attack Iraq. And I did not support that, because I thought we should be as in and out as quick as possible in Afghanistan and find out who was responsible for bombing the towers and the Pentagon and Flight 93. And we should find out who did it, hold them accountable, and get out. But that's why I ran against Mike Pence in 2004, because I was so against the Iraq War. I was a pastor of the United Methodist Church at the same time, by the way. And I want to stop this war too. I want to stop this war too. I think the Country Joe song is called the Fixin' to Die Rag. I think you might be right. Yeah. It was 1, 2, 3. What are we fighting for? I know I don't give a damn. It's off to Vietnam, where it's 5, 6, 7. Open up the pearly gates. And then there was another line in there, and then it's woohoo, we're all gonna die. And he also did the famous "Give Me an F" chant at Woodstock. So that little history for those of you that don't remember that particular era. But anyway, we're talking about fighting ourselves this time. There are some that think it's going to be clean cut. It's going to be, well, it's people of color on one side and white people on the other side. It's not. It's not going to be that clear cut. There may be those that use it as an excuse, and in their minds it's that clear cut, but it's not. It's not going to be that clear cut. And hopefully it's all just an incredible worry and burden I carry, and not a reality that we're going to be soon facing. But that's what we're going to keep talking about on the show. Trust not in your own understanding, Mr. Doofus. Here promoting the races to fight sublime. They can come in very well prepared. No, I'm not promoting anybody to fight. No. I'm not promoting anybody to fight. I'm promoting possibly meeting and talking and coming to an understanding that we've all got so much more in common that there is no reason to fight. That's my purpose. And if it comes off any other way, it's not the intent. Not the intent ever. Believe me, I've talked to enough people on both sides that I know everybody is ready to fight and everybody is well prepared. I don't want to perpetuate it. I want to prevent it. Okay. Yeah. I'd really like that you all talk amongst yourselves in the comments, and everybody relates, and everybody has opinions and discussions back and forth. But no, the last thing I want is a war, and especially a race war. But the last thing I want is a war of any kind, because war causes disruptions, number one. Okay, disruptions in healthcare, disruptions in the flow of goods and services, disruptions in transportation, disruptions in communications. Okay, that's just the very tip of the proverbial iceberg. And I don't want any of those things. I don't want any of those things disrupted. I got an email. This is the email of the week. So those of you that emailed me and said, don't mention my name, don't have permission or whatever. This isn't you. There's a guy that has seen at least one episode of the show in Australia. So we have had an Australian viewer named Ollie, and he basically reached out and said that the show was misnamed. It should be America is a Doofus instead of the American Doofus, because most of the rest of the world can't understand why we don't understand how good we all really have it, and why are we trying to fuck it up. And so, Ollie, if you happen to be listening again, shout out to you, and thank you for the email. No, I think we've got it pretty good. I don't want to go to war over anything. I think that despite the inequalities in the country, we still have a lot of freedoms, a lot of things to work for, a lot of things to change. But at the same time, we've got a lot of things that other nations don't have. Should we have affordable health care for everybody? Absolutely. In my opinion, we should. That's something to work for. That's not something to go to war and destroy any possibility of. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Which side gets vaccines? There's so much. Another reason I don't want anyone even considering going to war, let alone the number of people that blatantly talk about it now, is because it won't just be our war. Other countries will be involved, and eventually somebody's going to nuke somebody else, and then it's over. So hell to the no. I am not trying to perpetuate a war between anybody. Let me see. I disagree. It's a communist capitalist thing. Okay, there may be some wanting communism in this, but and it could be a communist capitalist thing. But to me, it plays out as it is those that want equality and those that are afraid they're going to lose their freedoms. And I personally can't rationalize that. I can't rationalize that if one group of people rises, that means another group has to fall. That's not how it works. But I've also learned that by now most people have a firm idea in their head that they are one way or the other, and that while most that are considering these options have already basically decided who the enemy is, maybe. There are so many people in this country that don't have a clue what could be coming. Now, is it because they don't want to know? Is it because they've heard and they refuse to believe it? Or is it because we've got it pretty good in this nation as a whole? And I don't see any reason to bring it down. Now, if somebody does start coming for the guns, that's a totally different story. But nobody's doing that. So don't use that as an excuse. if your real motivation is hate. If it's not, okay, cool. These are things we need to find out, and we need to find out quickly, because the time's coming, in my opinion. Yeah, Mandy, you're probably right. Mandy Marie, it would be regarded fake news until it is in their backyard. And I mentioned Iraq earlier, and one of the most outlandish things to me in the Iraq conflict was their minister of propaganda was in the radio studio telling people how they were turning back the Americans and blah blah blah, when our army had the building he was in surrounded and we're just about to take him out. So those that have drunk the Kool-Aid proverbially, and aren't going to believe any truths, that's going to be tough to get around. That's going to be tough to avoid conflict. But I hope it can somehow happen. Trump is now claiming to end Afghan war by end of year. Taliban made official statement endorsing Trump for president. Yeah, I saw that. Taliban endorsed Trump, that Osama bin Laden's daughter endorsed Trump, that I don't know. If I was still active in politics, I would not personally want those endorsements. But anyway, I think the KKK and the Nazi Party have also endorsed him, just to kind of round things out. But that doesn't mean that he's still not the president of the United States at the moment. And it means, in order not to have war, we need to go to the polls and vote for whoever you think's best. I'm going to do that tomorrow, by the way. That's one of the things I'm looking ahead. I'm going to be voting tomorrow. Voting in this wicked demonic system is totally useless. Go look up Dred Scott versus John H. Sanford. Actually, I taught on the Scott Sanford. Black people are not citizens of the United States. Sorry. No need to be sorry if you feel that way. If you feel like that the nation doesn't represent you, I can understand why you would have those feelings. But in my opinion, it's still important to vote and to make such a strong statement against a cult of personality that is potentially dangerous and deadly. But that's just my opinion, something to think about. All right. Been on about an hour, and I keep telling myself I'm going to shorten these things up, because an hour is a long time for somebody to sit down and watch. And I do appreciate everybody that does that so sincerely. I'll be back on tomorrow. I'm going to have, I'm not exactly sure yet. Again, the schedule's a little in flux at the moment, but I'm hoping to have one, if not two or more Louisville live streamers on sometime this week to talk about what's happening in Louisville. Thank you all again. Have an absolute blessed rest of the night. And please, if you haven't subscribed, like and share. And last night I couldn't sleep, and I got back on and hopped down in the comments and answered some comments. I rarely do that, but I do thank everybody for commenting. These will disappear. I won't be able to see those. And I don't know if you're a praying person. It's time to pray for peace if you don't already. If you want peace, as I do. I got a 3.5-year-old little granddaughter and a grandson, and I want them to have a good life. And I want my friends in communities of color that have sons and daughters and grandsons and granddaughters. I want them to have a good life. So if you are a person of prayer or a person of positive thought, and you too want peace, join me in a prayer at some point later on tonight, as I'm going to be in prayer later on tonight for peace. I don't care if you're I don't care if you follow Islam, if you're Jewish, if you're some other denomination of Christian. If you're, I consider myself a spiritual person, not a religious person, and it's past time for prayer, and I just I don't mention it enough on this show. So no matter what your theology, ideology, what your background, no matter what, we're all human beings, and we need to remember that and try to treat each other that way. And I know it's hard sometimes. I have to hold my tongue a lot, but we've got a few more weeks. So join me in prayer later on tonight if you're a praying person. And if not, blessings upon you anyway. Peace, honor, love. Until next time. It's a dark world. Try to be alive. Try to be a light. And please stay alive. We all need to stay alive. It's the American Doofus Show. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. Don't be a doofus.